as a real estate person, you're buying on Fifth Avenue with the full park view. Nobody's going to go in front of it. What's going to go along with that investment? Nothing. It's golden. So I had no hesitation to get a good investment as well.
You've said before, Barbara, that one of your greatest assets as a business leader is your imagination. Coming up with ideas and being willing to test them. What are some of the ideas that have worked for you with real estate investing?
Well, let me tell you, it's always my imagination. Because you know what? The little guy, when you're scrapping and trying to come up from the bottom, really has the corner on imagination, new ideas, and getting ideas into the street fast. My big competitors, I notice they move slow. They have committees, attorneys, accountants. They have an idea on Monday. It might come out 6 months later. I had an idea on Monday. It was on the street by Wednesday. So I very much rely on my imagination. Probably my biggest idea that made the biggest change in my business, and the very first time I did it, was writing the corporate report. I had 11 sales for the year. It was a terrible time. Something wrong with the market. I don't know what it was. I had a complaining salesperson accusing me of not supporting them, not advertising. Well, of course, I had no money anyway. I tell them that. But I said, I have a great idea. And then after they left, I said, now what kind of big idea do I have? And I go to the corporate report. I took the 11 sales, averaged them out, and it came out to 58,400 some odd change for an average apartment that I sold, my firm sold. And I published a report with one line, the courtroom report, conditions and trends in the greater New York City marketplace, and sent it to the New York Times. Every writer wrote that day. And 2 Sundays later, I was on the front page of the real estate section. According to Barbara Corby, prices reached an all-time low using my figure based on 11 sales. And that day was a bellwether change for me in my career, because people would call, and I could hear my agents on the phone saying, oh, you've heard of us? Usually they were on the phone saying, C-O-R, C-O-R, that kind of thing. We were found. Suddenly people thought I was smart. Like, was I smart? No, I was clever. But a lot of people like to be right. They like to be accurate. Does it make sense? They ask opinions. They really sharpen their sword, and they never get out there. I got the idea, slammed it, whatever it was, and threw it out to the marketplace. And only a percentage worked. But believe me, the things that worked for me and my company worked at least 5 times more than anybody else, because I was always out there trying stuff, and I ran lean and fast.
That is such a good point. I can't let us pass this over. I've noticed this as a real estate broker, real estate investor, real estate everything. People that come into our business from other professions, architects, engineers, anyone that was somewhat analytical.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, you're making the same face that we all make when we get those people. They want to make a spreadsheet of the 18 properties that they don't want to buy and go over all the reasons they don't want to buy it with you.
Wasn't that true? Yes. Especially bankers, finance guy. Oh, my God.
Yes, anyone that has an analytical mind is also trained to not make mistakes. And they've got this emotional relationship with numbers where they believe making a mistake will lose you money or cause you pain in some way. And the way you win at life is to never make a mistake. And it is a very difficult gateway that you've got to go through to make money in real estate, where you learn making mistakes does not lose you money. Like you just said, throw as much out there as you can. The more things that stick are what are going to make you money. That you can do nothing wrong in a day, make 0 mistakes and make no money. You can do 20 things in a day, 17 of them were wrong, but your 3 wins were still more than the 0 wins that the analytical mind had. And I know people that are listening to this are having a hard time gaining traction. They're having a hard time getting going. Listen to what Barbara's saying here. Stop thinking that avoiding mistakes is the way that you win in the space with real estate. Any advice on that topic, Barbara?
Yeah, I would say that I tried, you have some very brilliant people in the game, people well-educated. I always lose my money with Harvard MBAs. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. I always do. If they're in the game, I'm like, not going there anymore. You get a left-brain type of person, terrible for investing in real estate, because they lack one thing in their DNA. They're risk-averse. If you're risk-averse, you can't win at real estate. You got to have blind faith a lot of the time. I think, what, am I crazy? But I'll do it anyway, because I come to this bar, I'll do it anyway. It's different. Maybe they run funds and then punch numbers, but they never make a lot of money. I'm telling you, the scrappy first-generation immigrant that doesn't know any better is much more apt to make money than the Harvard-educated kid that just came out of school who's been working for 10 years.
And this...
Do you want to lower your monthly student loan payments?
No, I love paying.
Well, you could do just that by refinancing with SOFA.
And it's not to say that numbers don't matter. It's that being in love with the numbers is the problem. It's having the vision, it's seeing the opportunities. Oh, that's such a good point. It made me think about when someone wants to, date someone. Nobody wants to be courted by a guy who just overanalyzes everything and never makes a mistake. They want a person who's going to put themselves out there, be passionate about what they're doing, try different things, show the love that they have for someone. That matters so much more than the person who's like, I made sure we had reservations at every single restaurant at the exact same time, and I scanned the menu before we even went so I knew what I was going to order. Like, that isn't what makes anyone fall in love, right? Real estate won't fall in love with you if that's the approach you're taking.
It's so true. It's so true what you just said.
Barbara, out of curiosity, on this, the Barbara Corcoran report that you kind of mathed out, hey, real estate is at an all-time low in New York City. Aside from I know that you mathed it out based on yours, but was there actually any truth to that number on a broader scale? Like, was that pretty close to what was actually happening? Did anybody ever call you and say, hey, that's not true? Or, hey, how did you know? Like, I was kind of curious how your data actually ended up comparing to the actual data of New York. Did you ever look into that?
No, I didn't. It was already out. It was printed. I was getting the notoriety. Who knows if it was accurate? Who cares if it was? The main thing was nobody else had a number out there. Nobody was producing numbers. After that, over the next 10, 20 years, people started mimicking my competitors because they realized all the reporters called me. Why? Not that I had better opinions than them or was more experienced. I was certainly less experienced, but I had a number to give them. And what do reporters need more than anything else? They don't need your opinion. They already have an opinion when they call. They want a good soundbite, and more importantly, they want numbers to back up their own opinion. And I gave it to them. I mean, if I had a reporter call me and say, hey, I'm working on a Russian oil well story, and I wonder if you have any rich Russians that I could talk to, I found them a Russian to talk to, or two or three. They came to me like a source. I feel like a media show. What do you need? Got it. What do you need? Got it. It's not important whether your number is right, and I can do the best you can. Was that an accurate number based on my sales? Was it in line with the field? Probably, but I didn't care. I already had the number, got the notoriety. It was on to the next. I'd say next bullet report. Yeah, the next report. I just kept churning the things out. The Richard Gere report, the Madonna report, the Hillary Clinton report, the Guggenheim Museum report. I would grab any number, average out, pop it out there because I had the nerve enough to have I didn't have the decency enough to wonder if my numbers were right.
Okay, I love it. So, I mean, you said you were clever. Obviously, what was happening here is you're a genius marketer, and that comes into play with something that I heard about, a word of mouth campaign that you had when you were trying to sell out a unit or sell out a building. Could you tell us that story too?
Oh, you're probably referencing the one-day, one-price sale. And by the way, exaggerated, I'm not marketing genius. I just take risks. I'm good at that. I swear to God, that's the baseline of the whole thing. No, I had 88 apartments that an insurance company and developer came to me came to every broker in town. We need to sell these. Interest rates were 18%. Can you imagine that? That's why when everybody's excited about the high interest rates now, I'm like, what are you talking about? Interest rates were 18%. No one was buying anything. And they said, we have to sell these 88 units and we don't want to auction, we don't want a public sale because we don't want to be embarrassed. I looked at the units, they didn't have kitchens, the high floors, low floors, back apartments, creepy lobbies, they had everything wrong. So I went back and said, no, there's no way to sell it. I'd like to tell you differently, no way to sell it. I met with the developer and the insurance company. And interesting about motivation, the developer, Bernie Mendick, who is since deceased, he said to me, you're a smart girl, you'll figure it out. And I had to rise to his occasion. I went home that night and thought of a puppy sale my mother brought me to, where all the puppies were given away and there were too many buyers for the puppies. So I did an exact knockoff on that. I went back and I said, we're pricing all the units alike. Back apartments, high floors, low floors, all alike. You give them the mortgage so they don't have to worry about the mortgage at 2% down from the 18%. Okay, we'll have a one-day sale. First come, first serve. And I opened that office on the Upper East Side in the morning around, it was due to open at, I think, 8 o'clock, but I was there at 6:30. I had over 150 people in line waiting for those 88 apartments. And I said, go. I gave them the sheets, the addresses. They ran, husbands, wives, single people, ran to see the apartments they wanted the best one. It was sold out, I would say, with less than 2 hours, I made $1 million. Who would ever see that thing coming? And you know what the key to it was? It wasn't enough to go around. And even the guy who got the loser, the really disgusting apartment with the same price as everybody else, he was happy because he saw how many people were waiting behind him and couldn't get anything. You know? So that was just a marketing play, a secret sale. There's no advertising to support it, but it worked like a dream.
How many units did you say that you sold?
88.
I would go to yoga, but I don't have the right gear.
Save on all the best activewear at Sierra.
Also, I'm
88 units, and the average sale price, well, right now it won't sound like anything. The average sales price, I think, was $64,000.
Wow. No, I mean, that's 88 units. I'm sure that's got to be a record in New York for the fastest building ever sold out. If listeners want to hear more about this story, you tell this a little bit more as well on TikTok in your Get Ready With Me video, right?
Yes.
Looking at that one, I believe it had over 1 million views.
Yes, I think it may have, you know? I think it's because I look so good without makeup.
Yeah, no, it's a very fun series. I think your social platform and in all of the stories that you tell really are a very fun thing to watch. I find myself on your